Wait, I can hear you now.
You can hear me now? That's
why.
weird. Okay, hanging up.
Why can you hear us?
I don't know. I don't
Hello.
know, but here we are
We're
now.
live. We're live.
It's good news. Good news, everyone.
Good news.
I'm going to turn towards you slightly.
Okay.
Your head is inside that little logo.
Oh, yes, I see that.
Yeah, we know who you are. All right. So, are you ready?
I am ready.
Do you want to introduce our subject for tonight?
Yes. Well, hello, all of those that have chosen to join us this evening. We are
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah, we are doing.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Sure.
Do you mind?
Sure. Interrupt me.
Well, it's just that this is an evening, and
Right.
normally we do Sunday mornings, and we've had a long intermission
Right.
when we haven't been doing Sunday mornings.
Sure.
And I thought I would just acknowledge that we've decided we might do some Sunday mornings.
Right.
And we've also decided to do some Monday evenings because, people were saying that evenings might be better for them. And we thought, well, let's see how it goes. Let's see if we find that people are more free, some of our regular people to join us in the evening on Mondays, and maybe we'll go a bit back and forth. We're not quite sure yet.
Right. And I think that's a great idea that you let everybody know that, we're changing it up and we're trying to surprise people.
Surprise.
So,
okay.
Anyways.
And our topic.
Our topic for tonight is the topic of how you respond to your partner in terms of the tone, not only the content or actually what you say, but the tone in which you present whatever it is you're trying to get across, the meaning you're trying to get across. And we really believe that tone is something that really can lead to disconnect very, very quickly with many couples.
So it can lead to disconnect because what you are saying might not, like the message you want to convey, might not match up to how you are conveying it.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And some of us are emoters. And so we're very good at accessing our feelings even as we're speaking. And some of us, and I think this may be more true for turtles, and for I think it's probably more likely we could say that turtles are also slower to process. And so if you have a slow processing turtle, someone who is a little more reticent, a little more of an introvert, does a lot more pondering before they express, the tone might not have caught up to the meaning. That's, I think, what you were saying to me earlier today when we were gardening.
Yes, it may. Yes, the tone might not have gotten caught up to where you actually are trying to think through what you're saying, and you are responding maybe prematurely to how you actually want to address something.
Or how you feel.
Or, yeah, definitely how you feel. And that can lead to your partner actually not really being very excited about how you're responding.
Or registering what it is that you want to convey. I was thinking about our brother-in-law who we were chatting on the phone today and planning a date with the two couples, right? My sister and her husband and us. And he said, I would be up for a game of golf with you. That would be nice. Golf is a treat for you. Don't do it very often. And I thought you'd be like, yay, that's great. And you said, sure, that sounds good or something. And he, interestingly, you noticed this, right? He was like, okay, like, thanks for your enthusiasm. And we explained that, it just takes, you were kind of jumping up and down, but you just hadn't kind of caught up to how you felt about it.
I was jumping up and down internally.
But it did take you a while to you were thinking about logistics, I suspect.
Absolutely.
And putting together the picture so that the emotional response wasn't quite ready to be shared.
Right. And I think that's the other part of it too, is that a lot of times people hear something, and even when they're communicating or reacting back to their partner, one of the things they're doing is their mind's taking them in a whole bunch of different directions in terms of, it could be logistics or It could be a feeling that they're actually starting to take over them. They could be anxiety, it could be fear, it could be excitement. Even though I want to play golf, I don't think excitement was really where I was at. But it really is the case where when we're talking, our brain is still going.
And how that relates in our coupleship, and my guess is in many, many coupleships.
I'd say a lot of coupleships.
Is that if I propose something, well, let's use an example where I would say,
Right.
hey, do you want to dream about traveling to another country together, or our next trip, or some of the nuances of our trip coming up to Portugal? And you might say, yeah, so I'm just going to need a coffee. I'm going to put out the recycling. And so, I'm like, wow, I thought that would be such an exciting conversation. And so I'm going to jump right to one of the things I'll do, and that we've learned in our relationship to do, is that I will mirror you. So I hear that before you can join me in this dreaming moment together, a session together, you need another coffee, and you want to get a couple of chores done. And then you're going to be able to be more present. And I will mirror your tone, and you will say, yes, that's what I need.
Right.
If I move right to reactivity, I'm going to say, so you need to have more coffee, you need to get more caffeine, and you got to get other stuff done that's more important than sitting down to dream with me. And we will be off to the races with our disconnect.
Right. Right. And, I think that it becomes such a trigger for a lot of people. And I can't imagine anybody listening to us actually saying, well, I've never had that happen to me, where the response my partner gave me, was a little confusing, or I misread them. And, it really does create a miscommunication. It's just something that does occur for couples, and it can be a significant trigger, and that trigger can come from a lot of different places.
Yeah. And I think in addition, that when you're in a pattern, when you've been in a relationship for a very long time, and you're into these kinds of patterns of ways of being, where you might have not been, you might have been misunderstanding meaning because tone didn't convey meaning for a very long time. And so what really matters is that you can start to unpack that together. Mm-hmm. And the best way that we know how is to mirror. So you can mirror both what you heard and the tone, so that your partner can know what it is that they were saying, and whether what they conveyed was what they intended to convey. Mirroring, again, simply meaning that you repeat what your partner is saying using their tone. And I would add that is absolutely essential in dialogue itself. So if you are learning how to use dialogue, the imago intentional dialogue in your relationship, then being able to mirror tone, not just meaning, but not just the words, but actually tone, is really critical. Because otherwise, let's say you're saying, I want to tell you about a feeling I had the other day when you said such and such. Can we discuss that together? And I say, oh, so that bugged you and you really want to unpack. And I start to use sarcasm or some kind of defensive tone. We're not going to be able to further the conversation and lean into learning about one another.
Right. Right. And, that level of curiosity is really important for an individual to learn how to express themselves more effectively, because they can become curious as to, well, I wonder why Anna responded that way when I said that, and to really hear what they said back, what they're reflecting back to you, you can hear what they heard, and that can become, a bit of an aha moment. That's why, you're not really getting what I'm saying.
You're not picking up what I'm putting down. Can I mirror that?
Yes, you can.
So what I hear you saying is that in moments where you have said something to me, for example, because I work well with examples, and when I am able to mirror both your words and the tone with which you delivered them, not only do I get out of the way, and indicate that I am listening, but also get myself out of the way. But you hear what you said and how you said it, and you get an opportunity then to assess, is that what I meant? Is that
Right.
what you're saying?
Right. And even to refine it even a little bit more, I'm understanding how you heard what I said. It might not be what I could even think, well, I never said it that way, but it's all about what your partner hears. And there are a lot of reasons why that can happen. Like we were just talking earlier about there can be cultural differences between people in a relationship. And that might come across in how they actually are saying something to their partner. Another one is modeling that they've experienced from when they have been in other relationships or in, growing up, what they saw their parents doing, or they've seen in other cultural instances, environments. And I guess the other one, from my perspective, is that whole sense of, whatever wounds or whatever, things that we bring into our coupleship where we need to grow. And a lot of times when you can start to be curious about what you do here. I mean, the big one for you, and then I'll shut up and let you talk, Anna. But the big one for me is that when Anna says, when I say to her and I go, oh yeah, good. And Anna mirrors me and says, oh yeah, good. Then I hear the minimalistic communication that I've given Anna and the tone in which I have given her the term good.
And we've learned to do that. And I've learned to do that so that I don't move into reactivity, because what I want to say sometimes is that all you've got for me, and get into my critic, which is a whole other tone. And I want to be able to manage that and self-regulate. And so if I say, so good, in that way, then you hear that that's all you've offered back to something, because you're in your own head, and I haven't maybe even made an appointment to get you to know that there's something important I want to share with you.
And that's my word diet.
And that's your word diet. So I was thinking about some of the other tones that we can use. Sarcasm is a tone, condescension, being a bit patronizing, parental, harsh. I'm not interested. Like that's both body language and tone. They might be defenses, but they are also sort of practiced ways of being. And Tim referenced earlier that we learn these I think you referenced that, we have our background, our culture, our family culture, our childhoods. And so we come from somewhere and we learn through modeling and through osmosis how to be in relationship. And so sometimes the tones we're using don't convey even what we mean to convey, because they're so well practiced in us from our childhoods. They're simply a tone that we're used to using. Someone offends us, we use a certain tone. Someone, we're looking for connection, we use a certain tone. And we have to move all of that to consciousness.
Right. Very, very true.
Go ahead.
Maybe we could finish off. I don't know where you're at, but I really think that the metaphor you used, or the comparison you used to the concept of narrating a story. Do you want to just
finish with that?
Yeah, because I think that really does, it takes the last stage from third base to home, I think.
In your baseball reference?
In my referencing.
I was saying as we were preparing that it is, you can hear a tone when you're reading or telling a story. And I was thinking about our grandchildren and when we tell them stories, and if we're using a kind of lullaby tone, a kind of rhythmic, soft, once upon a time story, whether it's a story we're creating or a book that we're reading, and we can see their nervous system calm down. We can see them become more regulated and more receptive. And it's like a gentling. It's a gentling. And if we're telling a story that has a scary bit or a frightening bit, and then our voice gets a bit more intense and we want to tell about the, whatever part of the story where the storm is coming and things are getting rough at sea, and, and we can see them getting a little more tense and anxious or excited. If something exciting, they're getting close to the treasure, whatever it may be. And so if we think about in our love life, in our romantic partnership, which at times we know can feel not necessarily romantic. If we think about what do we want in our partner's nervous system? Do we want to help them regulate? Do we want them to be receptive or defensive? And if we are talking to them as though we are telling them a love story, and then what happened was, I imagined going to bed at the same time as you tonight. And I thought that we might, whatever. And so, the tone matters. Less demanding, more gentle, more kind, more respectful. We're going to get a different nervous system response in our partner.
Not patronizing, but no.
Was I being paid?
No. But that's sort of that sense.
You're saying there's a tipping point.
You have to find the right spot.
You're talking to your partner's nervous system.
Yeah.
And so the more that you can be kind and soft, even if you have a loud, lovely, projecting teacher voice at times, or whatever, it's really lovely if you can moderate and modulate your tone. So think of yourself as telling your partner a love story and watch what happens. So that's good. That's good for today's info on tone, our chat.
I think so. Yep.
You good with that?
Good to be back.
No last words. Good to be back on
Good
live.
to be back.
And we're going to pivot.
Right.
From the live.
Excuse me.
To some Q&A about our upcoming retreats, plural. Bless you.
Thank you.
I'm going to have a sip of water.
Right.
We'll take a moment. Maybe people are joining us, shifting from the people who wanted to learn about tone to the people who want to hear more about our retreats. Mm-hmm. We're pretty darn excited about the 2 upcoming retreats. We have two planned. We have more planning, but the 2 that are planned, the next one is towards the end of September, 3rd week of September. It is in Northern Ontario. At a retreat center called Northern Edge. It's in Algonquin Park, at the edge of Algonquin Park, which is an amazing natural protected landscape. Absolutely beautiful. And this is our 4th year running it at Algonquin Park. We have never, at Northern Edge, we have never before run it in September. We have run it in October previous years, and next year 2026 we'll be back in October.
We do love it in October.
We love it, and we're pretty excited to give it a try. We managed to grab a slot. Northern Edge is a very busy retreat center, and we managed to grab a spot for September so that we could capture just a bit more of the fall color. And that retreat is 3 nights and sort of 3.5 days, I guess. And arriving midday on Thursday, leaving almost 4 days, actually, arriving midday on Thursday and leaving just after lunch on Sunday. So we have a couple of questions people have been asking us about that. We just answered one, which was why September this year rather than October. And part of that is because we could get the spot and we were planning well enough ahead because this particular retreat has become so popular. And it's almost full now. So I think we have a couple of spots left. So if anybody's considering that retreat, it would be good to sign up sooner than later. And all of that registration is done through Northern Edge. And that's registration is on our website. Is there anything in particular you want to say about the Edge before we talk about Portugal?
No, other than the fact that for any of our retreats, one of the really important things to realize is that we do a great deal of psychoeducational teaching in terms of what the imago theory is all about and how couples can learn to communicate more effectively with one another. But we do that. And this is the wonderful thing about a retreat, because we have an extended amount of time, being an extra day or so for up at Northern Edge, what we can do in those circumstances, and certainly in Portugal and other retreats we've run, what we're able to do is we're able to apply many of the things that we've actually talked about and hopefully learned from our education into activities as a couple, activities as a full group, And the wonderful thing about Northern Edge in the fall is that it provides us with a number of great opportunities to do some really wonderful things outdoors.
And the food is stupendous.
Oh,
we are well nurtured up there. I'm going to ask if you can turn that light off for a minute. I'm finding it bothersome.
Okay.
If you can just shut it off would be great.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It was shining into my eyes. Okay, so I wanted to say that we just finished in May. It feels like not that long ago, our 7-day sailing trip in Greece. And we're going to have some pictures up on our website soon so people can see what an amazing trip that was. And we've had some people ask us, why is our upcoming trip? We have a trip planned to Portugal in April of 2026. Why are we doing 5 days and not 7 days? And the short answer is that we've often had people say we would come, but it feels as though we don't have the travel time on either side of the trip. And we wanted people to be able to see a little bit of Portugal. And if they only have a week vacation, they can still get to us, enjoy 5 days of retreat, which is absolutely rich. I mean, in Northern Edge, we have 4 days and we do so much in 4 days, 3 nights and 4 days, that 5 nights and 5 days we know is extraordinary. Yes. And going to be rich. And we have a ton planned for that time. Not to be overly busy, but lots planned. So it allows for some travel time. So that was one of the questions that came in, and that was where we got to.
And I think one of the other things that we realized is with Portugal in particular is that where our retreat is centered, there's a lot of really incredible things to do. And couples may wish to have a few days or longer to actually explore the Algarve, which is the southern part of Portugal, where our retreat is. And it is a circumstance where by really working on the 5 days, then there is that opportunity to actually extend and work on some of the things on your own. And we just thought that this was a really unique opportunity we could try.
And there is room at the hotel, the villa, where we have booked the retreat to extend your stay for 1, 2, or 3 days. So if you want to use it as a launching place afterwards and book a few more days, that's an opportunity that's available to you. Then another piece around that is, so part of that is about us knowing this. So this is a retreat that is suitable for any couple at any stage of relationship. And for any couple, whether they have done one of our workshops, virtual, in-person retreat, or otherwise, because what we have learned to do over the last number of years is to deliver the same material, but to expand on the material, to deepen it, to add in some exercises, to pivot a bit for the couples who've done it more than once. And we do typically have couples who've done it more than once, and make it continuously fresh and interesting. And so these are deepening retreats. These are opportunities to deepen the work while we play, while we have fun, while we dance, while we explore, while we take a boat ride or explore somewhere nearby. And we have a number of those pieces available to us as well.
Right. And I think we've learned from couples that have done our retreat more than once is that they always find that they're peeling away that layer of the onion to find new and interesting ways to address things in their relationship. And also they find that, Anna and I don't do exactly the same thing all the time, every opportunity that we have to run a retreat. We really do change it up and address it in the way in which is really tailored for who the couples are we're with.
We have a lot of questions that came in. I'm thinking maybe we should pick a couple of them and answer them. And then maybe we can set a second time or a third time. We have lots of time before April. I will say that the early bird fee, the early bird reduced fee,
registration fee,
is available until October 1st. So between now and October 1st, there are $200 or $300 off the total price. You'd have to look on the website. So I think it's 300 is 300 US off. And so and we have 2 couples registered. And so we have 7 spots left at a maximum. So we have a maximum of 9 participating couples. We have an assistant couple and then us. So there will be 4 couples in the leadership role. So let me think about this. So one of the questions is, and you can register through our website, and we're Movement Travel is our partner travel agency, and they're doing all our registration for us. So you just register with Movement Travel, and that's all set up for you. A lot of couples, and this is one of the questions, talk about being nervous or anxious, and how much participation do we have to do? Do we have to divulge a lot about ourselves? Those kinds of questions. They want to come. They want a vacation. So are they going to have a vacation? Are they going to be in therapy? What's this look like?
Right.
Do you want to? So you did talk about psychoeducation and the balance between psychoeducation and play and learning.
Right.
People do not need to share anything about their personal circumstances, where they're at in their relationship journey. We like to know how long couples have been together. That's something we often ask couples to share, but
and I think that what we really are aware that some couples are willing to provide more information or maybe model something for other people, but it isn't meant that you have to actually in front of everybody else actually provide all the information of your relationship or whatever. Not at all. It's we've had many people who have really wanted to maintain their confidentiality, and on the other hand, though, we are really truly understanding of the fact that there are people that are much are really loosen up a little bit as time goes on. They start to be more social and comfortable, but not always.
And it isn't group therapy. This is not group therapy. We are not asking you to be in therapy with other people whom you're just meeting. It is an opportunity to understand how normal it is that couples struggle, that we all go through difficult times, that we get into what we call the power struggle and we don't know how the heck to get out of it. And to combine the learning with travel is, we have discovered, a magic recipe. If we can work together to learn to really take a complete pause, transport our relationship to somewhere really beautiful and lovely, which we really know this area that we're going to. It's called Olhão, and it's in the south.
It's the southern part of Portugal, in the southwest corner of Europe. My
geographer husband in the southwest corner. And it is in the less touristy area and a beautiful fishing town, and but with access to lots of other areas. When we do this kind of thing, when we go to Greece on a sailing trip, when we go to Tenerife on an island, when we go to Portugal, when we go to Northern Edge, Algonquin, we take people, we invite you to come out of your everyday life and reset and try some new tools and learn some new skills and relate to one another in a beautiful setting. And those skills and tools and opportunities can then be transferred into your day-to-day lives. And that's the other reason for 5 days, because what happens with 5 days is that then if you do have a few days of travel on the other end, that's the time. I mean, if you can travel before, great. But if you can travel afterwards, when you are really in connection and you really have learned a little more and leaned into whatever is difficult to learn more about one another, that's a great time to explore the world and have some adventures together and spark some romance.
It's exciting.
And we're not going to read tone there. How exciting is it, honey?
It's really exciting.
I know.
Ah!
All right. So we have a lot more questions we could answer today, but I think it's late and we've talked lots, and we will be back and we'll schedule another live for more information.
And please reach out if you really do want to find out more information. Anna and I are really willing to actually have a short session of 50 minutes to actually discuss more if you so choose.
You mean privately on Zoom?
Privately
they can ask,
on
absolutely.
Zoom. Yeah, absolutely.
We love meeting you.
But certainly through email and through our website, you can certainly get a hold of us and find out more.
All right. Thanks for joining us.